The Commonwealth of Nations, commonly known as the Commonwealth, is an intergovernmental organization of 53 member states that are mostly territories of the former British Empire. The Commonwealth operates by intergovernmental consensus of the member states, organized through the Commonwealth Secretariat, and non-governmental organizations, organized through the Commonwealth Foundation. The Commonwealth dates back to the mid-20th century with the decolonization of the British Empire through increased self-governance of its territories. It was formally constituted by the London Declaration in 1949, which established the member states as free and equal. The symbol of this free association is Queen Elizabeth II, who is the head of the Commonwealth. The Queen is also the monarch of 16 members of the Commonwealth, known as Commonwealth realms. The other members of the Commonwealth have different persons as head of state. 32 members are republics and 5 members are monarchies with a different monarch. Member states have no legal obligation to one another. Instead, they are united by language, history, culture and the shared values of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. These values are enshrined in the Commonwealth Charter and promoted by the quadrennial Commonwealth Games. On 3 October 2013, after 48 years of membership, Gambia became the most recent nation to withdraw from the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth covers more than 29,958,050 square kilometers, almost a quarter of the world land area, and spans all 6 inhabited continents. With an estimated population of 2.328 billion, near a third of the world population, the Commonwealth in 2014 produced a nominal gross domestic product of $10.45 trillion, representing 17% of the gross world products when measured in purchasing power parity and 14% of the gross world products when measured nominally. History. Origin. In her address to Canada on Dominion Day, 1959, Queen Elizabeth II set the Confederation of Canada on 1 July 1867 as the birth of the first independent country within the British Empire. So, it also marks the beginning of that free association of independent states which is now known as the Commonwealth of Nations. It was not, though, until 1884 that Lord Rosebery, while visiting Australia, described the changing British Empire, as some of its colonies became more independent, as of Commonwealth of Nations. Conferences of British and colonial prime ministers occurred periodically, from the first one in 1887, leading to the creation of the Imperial Conferences in 1911. The Commonwealth developed from the Imperial Conferences. A specific proposal was presented by Jan Smuts in 1917 when he coined the term, the British Commonwealth of Nations, and envisioned the future constitutional relations and readjustments in essence. At the Paris Peace Conference of 1919 by delegates from the Dominions as well as Britain, the term first received imperial statutory recognition in the Anglo-Irish Treaty of 1921. When the term British Commonwealth of Nations was substituted for British Empire in the wording of the oath taken by members of Parliament of the Irish Free State Dominions in the Balfour Declaration at the 1926 Imperial Conference, Britain and its dominions agreed they were equal in status, in no way subordinate one to another in any aspect of their domestic or external affairs, though united by common allegiance to the Crown, and freely associated as members of the British Commonwealth of Nations. These aspects to the relationship were formalised by the Statute of Westminster in 1931, which applied to Canada without the need for ratification, but Australia, New Zealand, and Newfoundland had to ratify the statute for it to take effect. Newfoundland never did, as on 16 February 1934, with the consent of its parliament. The government of Newfoundland voluntarily ended and governance reverted to direct control from London. Newfoundland later joined Canada as its 10th province in 1949. Australia and New Zealand ratified the statute in 1942 and 1947 respectively, although the Union of South Africa was not among the dominions that needed to adopt the Statute of Westminster for it to take effect. Two laws, the Status of the Union Act, 1934, and the Royal Executive Functions and Seals Act of 1934, were passed to confirm South Africa's status as a sovereign state after World War II ended. The British Empire was gradually dismantled to the 14 British overseas territories still held by the United Kingdom. In April 1949, following the London Declaration, the word British was dropped from the title of the Commonwealth to reflect its changing nature. Burma and Aden are the only states that were British colonies at the time of the war not to have joined the Commonwealth upon independence. Former British protectorates and mandates that did not become members of the Commonwealth are Egypt, Iraq, Transjordan, British Palestine, Sudan, British Somaliland, Kuwait, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Republics. On 18 April 1949, Ireland formally became a republic in accordance with the Irish Republic of Ireland Act 1948. Because it did this, it was automatically excluded from the Commonwealth. While Ireland had not actively participated in the Commonwealth since the early 1930s and was content to leave the Commonwealth, other dominions wished to become republics without losing Commonwealth ties. The issue came to a head in April 1949 at a Commonwealth Prime Ministers meeting in London. Under the London Declaration, India agreed that, when it became a republic in January 1950, it would accept the British sovereign as a symbol of the free association of its independent member nations and as such the head of the Commonwealth. Upon hearing this, King George VI told the Indian politician Krishna Menon, "So, I've become, as such." The other Commonwealth countries recognized India's continuing membership of the association. At Pakistan's insistence, India was not regarded as an exceptional case and it was assumed that other states would be accorded the same treatment as India. The London Declaration is often seen as marking the beginning of the modern Commonwealth. Following India's precedent, other nations became republics, or constitutional monarchies with their own monarchs, while some countries retained the same monarch as the United Kingdom. But their monarchies developed differently and soon became fully independent of the British monarchy. The monarch is regarded as a separate legal personality in each realm, even though the same person is monarch of each realm. New Commonwealth. As the Commonwealth grew, Britain and the pre-1945 dominions became informally known as the Old Commonwealth, and planners in the interwar period, like Lord Davies, who had also taken a prominent part in building up the League of Nations Union in the United Kingdom, in 1932 founded the New Commonwealth Society, of which British section Winston Churchill became the president. This new society was aimed at the creation of an international air force to be the arm of the League of Nations, to allow nations to disarm and safeguard the peace. The term New Commonwealth has been used in Great Britain to refer to recently decolonized countries, predominantly non-white and developing. It was often used in debates about immigration from these countries. Plan G and inviting Europe to join at a time when Germany and France, together with Belgium, Italy, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands, were planning for what later became the European Union, and newly independent African countries were joining the Commonwealth. New ideas were floated to prevent Britain from becoming isolated in economic affairs. British trade with the Commonwealth was 4 times larger than trade with Europe. The British government under Prime Minister Anthony Eden considered in 1956 and 1957 a Plan G to create a European free trade zone while also protecting the favoured status of the Commonwealth. Britain also considered inviting Scandinavian and other European countries to join the Commonwealth so it would become a major economic common market. At one point in October 1956, Eden and French Prime Minister Guy Mollet discussed having France join the Commonwealth. Nothing came of any of the proposals. Structure. Head of the Commonwealth. Under the formula of the London Declaration, Queen Elizabeth II is the head of the Commonwealth, a title that is by law a part of Elizabeth's royal titles in each of the Commonwealth realms. The 16 members of the Commonwealth that recognise the Queen as their monarch. However, when the monarch dies, the successor to the crown does not automatically become head of the Commonwealth. The position is symbolic, representing the free association of independent members, the majority of which are republics, and 5 have monarchs of different royal houses. Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. The main decision-making forum of the organization is the biennial Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, where Commonwealth Heads of Government, including Prime Ministers and Presidents, assemble for several days to discuss matters of mutual interest. CHOGM is the successor to the meetings of Commonwealth Prime Ministers and, earlier, the Imperial Conferences and Colonial Conferences, dating back to 1887. There are also regular meetings of finance ministers, law ministers, health ministers, etc. Members in arrears, as special members before them, are not invited to send representatives to either ministerial meetings or CHOGMs. The head of government hosting the CHOGM is called the Commonwealth Chairperson in office and retains the position until the following CHOGM. After the most recent CHOGM, in Valletta, Malta, from 26 to 29 November 2015, Malta's Prime Minister, Joseph Muscat, became the chairperson in office and will continue to hold the title until the next CHOGM. Commonwealth Secretariat. The Commonwealth Secretariat, established in 1965, is the main intergovernmental agency of the Commonwealth, facilitating consultation and cooperation among member governments and countries. It is responsible to member governments collectively. The Commonwealth of Nations is represented in the United Nations General Assembly by the Secretariat as an observer. The Secretariat organizes Commonwealth summits, meetings of ministers, consultative meetings and technical discussions. It assists policy development and provides policy advice, and facilitates multilateral communication among the member governments. It also provides technical assistance to help governments in the social and economic development of their countries and in support of the Commonwealth's fundamental political values. The Secretariat is headed by the Commonwealth Secretary-General, who is elected by Commonwealth Heads of Government for no more than 2 4-year terms. The Secretary-General and 2 Deputy Secretaries-General direct the divisions of the Secretariat. The present Secretary-General is Kamalesh Sharma, from India, who took office on 1 April 2008, succeeding Don McKinnon of New Zealand, and was re-elected in 2011 to his second term in 2012. The first Secretary-General was Arnold Smith of Canada, followed by Sir Shridath Ramphal of Guyana and Chief Emeka Enioku of Nigeria. Patricia Scotland, Baroness Scotland of Asthall, is to begin her term as the 6th Secretary-General on 1 April 2016. Commonwealth citizenship and High Commissioners in recognition of their shared heritage and culture. Commonwealth countries are not considered to be foreign to each other. The exception is Australia, where no such distinction is made, in the High Court case of Sue v. Hill. Other Commonwealth countries were held to be foreign powers. Similarly, in Nolan v. Minister for Immigration and Ethnic Affairs, the nationals of other Commonwealth realms were held to be aliens. When engaging bilaterally with one another, Commonwealth governments exchange High Commissioners instead of ambassadors. Between 2 Commonwealth realms, they represent the head of government rather than the head of state. In addition, some members treat resident citizens of other Commonwealth countries preferentially to citizens of non-Commonwealth countries. Britain and several others, mostly in the Caribbean, grant the right to vote to Commonwealth citizens who reside in those countries. Some states, such as Canada, Australia and New Zealand, have abolished such preferences. In non-Commonwealth countries in which their own country is not represented, Commonwealth citizens may seek consular assistance at the British Embassy. Other alternatives can also occur, such as an emergency consular services agreement between Canada and Australia that began in 1986.